Hello all, welcome to another endgame study of the Solving Harder Studies to Improve Chess Calculation series. This position is not the original one, it was created by the Austrian chess composer Alois Wotawa, but because the starting position had a problem, I decided to keep the study but from move number two. So this is the same position but one move ahead. It's white to play and to win. Of course, as always, I suggest you watch the guide if you haven't, so you are better prepared for the practice. If you're already prepared, then the main countdown of 10 minutes will start, and I catch you up with the solution after it finishes. And here we are. Well, the position is simple to see. We have a bishop under attack. We have 2 pawns. If we are going to try to play for a win, we need to promote the c pawn. So the decision more or less over here, notice that black has a lot of pawns over the board. Of course, the h pawn is at the moment blocking the black pawns from advancing. But on the other side, there are more problems. So probably one of them is going to go on. And over here we can't lose them. So the decision is between, okay, should I keep my bishop alive or should I advance the pawn? And the most natural one is to go directly for the promotion with c6. This is not hard, I think, but we need also to calculate. Let's go with the other line to see how it may go. Let's say we take the pawn. Well, then black just goes to control the advancing of the pawn, which will not happen at the moment because we can advance with this cover check. Of course, now black king goes one move closer to our h2 pawn. Now, of course, we need to advance the pawn, otherwise we were going to lose it. And black controls the promotion of the pawn. And here, unfortunately for white, it's just playing for a draw. But even worse, this is a very critical situation. So it's white to move for a draw to save the game, but there is only one way to do it. So 1 minute, pause if you need for more, and find how white can save this one. And the way to save this one is to go with bishop b8. Brilliant one. A very clever move because, of course, if the king takes on h2, we just advance the pawn, so releasing a discover check, and with that winning a tempo, so the queen can survive, the bishop can take it because the king is under check, needs to move away. What a way to do it. Because if we go with the other move, let's say with the king d7. Let's see this first. Well, what happens over here? It's very simple. The king just grabs the pawn, and we are not in time to do what we want because just can move away, and so we are now unable to get our queen over the board. The bishop is controlling the promotion square. Next, the pawn will start to advance, and h pawn will do it the same. So bye bye. It's a win for black, not for white as we wish. And so the main line goes with bishop b8. And of course, as you are going to see, of course, black will try to create a threat promoting the a pawn. But of course, now we need to bring the king, the pawn advances. Now it's the time to sacrifice the pawn for the bishop. And notice that in the end, the bishop is still controlling the h2 pawn, so black can't take it. And for black to take it, needs to give away the a pawn. So this is another moment. We can bring the bishop or the king. Let's start with the king to closer to the h file. Of course, here black needs to advance again. Now it's time. We are forced to bring the bishop, and black sacrifices the pawn, so it can take the h2 pawn. Over here, there is not many things to think about. We need to approach our king because on the other side there will be a threat of promoting the pawn, so the h pawn will start to go on. Now we are in time to control the promotion of that pawn, so but we need to sacrifice the bishop, and in the end, of course, we get the draw. But as you saw, it was really close. So let's get back to the main line, and the main line goes with the bishop advancing. Of course, over here, we already saw that if black goes for the pawn, it's not working. And so losing tempi, like for example, grabbing the bishop, also just allows us to go and promote the for a queen. And even if black gets our h pawn, so creating a potential draw in a bishop and pawns versus queen endgame, this is not enough because white can simply maneuver. Let's say, just give you one example. Now the bishop checks our king, but the king comes to the center, and when the king moves, we simply are going to find some way to fork and grab the bishop, and then the queen just takes care of the other pawns. This is still something that we need to play with precision, but it's white, it's going to win over here. So taking the bishop also, it's not possible for black, as we saw that going after the pawn is not enough for that kind of end game where black keeps the bishop against the queen. And so black gets another idea, goes to f3. Now the pawn advances, so the idea is to threat promotion, and black has two possible ways to continue over here with the idea of supporting a potential bishop f5 check, skewer the white pieces and grabbing the promoted pawn. Let's start with king f4. And so now another minute, another countdown, pause if you want more, and find the best way for white to now keep going on for the win. And the real fun is just starting. You need, of course, to find this continuation. You need to sacrifice the bishop, bishop e3, double exclamation mark. The idea is to decoy the king, so if the king takes the bishop, there is no bishop f5 to save the game, and so we get our promoted queen. So the king needs to move to the side, and let's say it moves to g4. What happens is, of course, we now are in time to move away the king, so not to get that checking. Of course, black will at the same bring the bishop to control the promotion square. We were threatening now to promote to a queen, but now there is a simple way. White just sacrificed the pawn, so checking the king takes the pawn, we take the bishop. Next move, we get the queen, we still keep the bishop over the board, and so this was the first interesting way to go on if the king goes to f4. But now let's go to the main line again, and the king goes to the other side, so not allowing white to get this tempo with the bishop e3 check. It's again you to think one other minute, and then I'll catch you up to go on with this. And of course, over here, we already are aware that the idea from black is to go with bishop f5, checking our king, and so controlling the promotion of the pawn, or if the pawn promotes, then the skewer, the king moves away, and we get the queen. And okay, let's see what works on over here. Well, moving the king doesn't work, because of course we can go with the bishop again. And now let's say we play h3, the same idea we had before. Well, the king just moves, and now we check, but the king just moves, and so the bishop stays on f5 undisturbed, and so it's impossible for white to save more than a draw. Okay, let's go back and let's see what other options, and why, what happens if we bring the bishop first. So the same idea like when the king was on f4, but here white is not winning a tempo over the black pieces, of course. So we can simply check the king. So now the king needs to move. Let's say it goes to e5, okay. But as you can see, we are not in time to bring h3, so the bishop can go, let's say, for c8, and everything is controlled from here. I don't see a way for white to win. There is none. So it's a draw. And so after all this, we need to find that the move order needs to be different. And we need to start with a brilliant h3 check. And that's the idea. Because if the king again accepts the decoy, then there won't be a bishop f5 next, and so we can promote. And of course, because black is aware of that, it goes with the king to g5. So another minute for you. This is full of interesting positions, and so find what is the precise continuation for white to go on for the win. And this time I start with the one that works, which is the brilliant king f7. Why? Let's see what is going on over here. We already know that black wants to go with bishop f5, so we need to control every square where the enemy king can go, and the one that comes to mind immediately is g6. So starting, for example, with a check, which is a potential move, well, just allows the king to go to g6, and there's no way for white to avoid bishop f5, either getting the skewer or controlling the promotion of the pawn if the king moves away now. And what other possibilities we had? Well, of course, moving the king, but again, moving the king is not enough because the bishop brings, and after the check, there is another square over there, and so it's impossible. So white needs to find the king going to f7, and so controlling, sorry, the f5 square. But of course now it's black to play, and of course black goes with a check. So this is not hard, but it's the final position for you. Think for 1 minute or pause for more if you need, and find out how white can go on finally for the win from here. And of course, you can't go away from the controlling of the position because, of course, over here the bishop just comes back and it's game over. It's slightly better already for black, of course, at least a draw if white can play precisely. And the correct move, of course, is going with the king g7. So keeping the king away. And you may wonder, okay, but now we are threatening to promote, but we are still away from f5. And so white can't promote again. Yes, it can promote, but there's an easy escape from it. We play just bishop e3, and it's a checkmate. Bye bye. We are winning this one. What a fine way to finish this study. Hope you have enjoyed, and as always, I catch you up with future videos, so keep on going with our practice. Bye bye, and keep checking.